what's up everyone? I'm Ishmael and welcome back to the part 12 of WhatsApp clone series. If you haven't watched the part 1 to part 11 yet, then do watch that. Link is in the description box as well as right here. So with that being said, let's start with our part 12 series where we are going to continue with our application building process, right? So I'm going to open up Arc, and if you don't have the source code access yet, then you can head over to my GitHub account /yeshmarkan and you can go to this YouTube WhatsApp clone series. Link is also provided in the description box, so you can check it out from there. So cool. Once you reach there, you just need to download this project. So zip file you can download, otherwise clone you can do as well. And this is the master branch where I uploaded the data 9 hours ago. So yeah, this is part 11 till everything is updated in this branch, right? So what we are going to do is that we are going to move further with the part 12. So I'm going to open up Android Studio here, and as we can see here, we have the master branch showing as my current branch. So what I'll do is I'll create a new branch from master, and this will be our part 12 branch where we will be working on, right? So I'll create that. Now I'm in my part 12 branch, right? Now I'll run the app once to check if everything works or not, right? So yeah, the app is building. I'll move this to move to, and I'll make it inside the bottom right section. So amazing. So I've made the run tab here, project structure here, and the complete application on the right side. So let's just run the app and check. So app is perfectly running, and yeah. So let me change it to the dark mode now. So I'll go to the settings once and turn the dark mode on. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Now in the last video, we have made the onboarding and authentication flow. Also state management we have added for this, right? So they can move further and then they can just log in with the OTP. So that was done. What was left is right now, like if they're entering some data, we have a limit here. So that is correct. But now if I enter like a number, I click request OTP, then it will go. But if I don't enter anything and I request OTP, then also it's navigating and we are getting one error here. Right. Unable to match. So we are getting the error and it won't send the OTP. So what we have to do for this is I'll go back to the recent OTP. So okay, let me just do this quickly, verify. Yeah. So let's just go to request OTP. And here on press, I'm just checking on send OTP clicked. But we will not do like this. We will check if the phone number dot text dot length is equals to 10, and we will check that if it is not empty. So basically only 10 we have to check, and let's just make it like that. Text dot trim, they could have entered just space 10 times. So trim will add and then equals to 10. Only then we will navigate. Now I'll hot reload, and if I click request OTP, nothing is working. So that is correct, right? Next, what I'll do is I will just go here and enter the OTP and log in. So after logging in, request OTP, verification code, it will check a robot. And now here is the problem. So when I'm entering, you can see that multiple entries I can add in the same text field. So we have made multiple text fields here. So inside the, you can see that we have our views, and then inside onboarding we have widgets, and then here we have our this thing, boarding page, bottom container, animated bottom container, and this is the part verification code, right, plus 91 phone number. Okay, and then here we are showing the text fields. So what I'll do is, for the text fields we'll set that the max length is 1. The maximum length that can be entered here is 1, and you cannot enter more than that. So if I'm entering max length 1, the text is moving upwards, right? Yeah. So what I'll do is, instead of adding that, I'll add the input formatter, and I'll add the length limiter, text formatter, and max length as 1. So now we cannot add more than 1. Perfect. Next thing what I'll do is, if on changed is triggered, then I'll change the focus. So focus node, focus scope dot off context dot next focus we will do. So as you can see, on changing it will move to the next focus, but we don't want every time, right? If the value, so whatever they are entering, if the value dot is not empty, only then we have to do this thing. So they'll enter the 1, 2, 3. If they want to change anything, they can, and then they'll be navigated again. So now if I am clicking back, it should work also, right? What I'll do else is I'll make it previous focus. So whenever we are deleting, it will move to the previous focus, whatever we have, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can go backwards as well. Like if I want to delete this, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. So now I'll just enter the OTP, which was 11111. Submit. Okay, so it is invalid OTP. I guess it was 1 2 3 4 5 6. 2 3 4 5 6. Submit, and yeah. So we are logged in. Now what I'll do is, first let's do the contact list, right? So on clicking contacts, we need to show all of our contacts inside the phone. So all the logs will come here. Right now in my emulator, I have made a dummy contact known as test user 9, right? And it is saved as 88. So let me just rename it to test user 8 instead, because phone number is 8888. So correct. So we want this user, this contact, to show inside our Flutter application. So let's just do that part. So this screen is our contact list screen that we have. So let me just open up and go to the contact page. Here, first things first, what I will do is I'll change this to state contact page. In the latest Flutter version, the method of writing this class has changed a bit, so I have changed that as well. Then what we are having here is a new group. So this column and this list view builder, and otherwise it will show our loader. So this loading animation is coming here. So this is always based on contacts, so like whatever contacts is. So here inside init state we are using get contacts, and then we are getting the contacts. So let me just print it out, like whatever contacts we are getting will know as well. So now if I go back and open again, there is no contacts, and here request permission. So the issue is that it's not working and the code is there because the permission is not added inside Android manifest XML user permission. We need to add read and write contacts. So I have added this as well, condition I have added. So now if I stop the app and rerun again, some error is there. So let me just fix that first. So contact page, else I'll say like permission declined. Perfect. So let's just restart the app, and yeah. So the app is running as well. Let's just wait for a while. Okay, so right now every time I'm logging in, I am going to the onboarding page. So let me just change that first. So if we are already logged in, we don't have to go back to this onboarding page, right? So here what I'll do is on clicking here inside onboarding page, we have on OTP submit method, and here we are printing user verified. So whenever user is verified, what I'll do is I'll call the local db dot, now is user logged in variable, we have one getter is there. So I'll just go to this getter and I'll create one method here, static void, and set user logged in. I'll pass a boolean value, and what this method will do is that it will open up the hive box for us known as user route, and then from there it will put that is logged in as the value that we are setting. So we have value and semicolon, right? So I'll format the code. So this is what we are going to use, and set user login. Now I can call this method here, local db dot set user login, and I can pass as true. So user is successfully logged in, so that next time I log in, I won't be getting the same error, or I won't be navigating to the onboarding page. So last time I'll try to do the login again. So I'll enter the phone number and I'll request for OTP. OTP is sent, and inside the emulator it is checking if it is not a robot. So yeah, once I'm navigated back, I'll enter the OTP here and I'll click submit. Now if I restart the app, I should be navigated directly to the home page, not the onboarding page. So let's check. Yeah, so I am navigated directly to the home page, right? Now let's just open up contacts. It is asking now to access the contacts. I'll click allow, and we can see the test user 8 is there, and the number we can see as well. So this is cool. Also right now we can see I added just a dummy image here. So I'll remove this image because we won't be having images for our test users. We will be having images on the person that we are chatting with, so they can add images, but not every contact will have the app installed in their phones, so we can't add image here right now. So to make things easy, What I'll do is I'll remove this image from the contacts page. So inside the contacts page, we are using contacts dot is empty, is not empty. Yeah, right here, list view builder, and then we are passing the contacts list style. Okay, here I create that hide image as true. So there will be a boolean flag for hide image, and what it will do is that it will basically hide the image. So I'll create this boolean flag, and by default this flag will be always true, right? And if it is false anytime, then the images that we have here, so inside the stack this positioned and this participant image equals to 1 right here, then we will show the image that we can see here, right? So what I'll do is I'll say if hide image correct. Now inside the contacts page, I'll set this hide image as false, and I will change it to show image. So now we can't see the image, but the list style is not adjusted. So let me just go back to the custom list style and check like what is the problem here that we are facing. Cool. So is selected. What is selected, that we are passing is contact selected. So it will be false only here. So okay. So it will be false. Alright. Yes. So here we can see that we have a stack. So what I will do is that instead of adding the condition here, like if show image, I'll add it inside this stack widget that we have, so that the entire stack will not come. Yeah, and then the padding and title will come, so that it will look a bit like this, and it will be clickable only. So they can click and then they can start the chat with that user if the user exists inside the DB. So we have to check that. So now on clicking, what is happening? So nothing is happening right now. So where is the on tap? So here on tap we have selected contacts is not empty. Then only it will just add. So else what I will do, we have to first check if user exists in the DB. Then if exists, open chat, else show or print message that the user don't exist, that user does not have the app installed. Okay, makes sense. So how do we check if the user exists in the DB or not? Okay, so first, to check if the user exists or not, we have to add user when they are logging in, right? So here what I will do is that inside the Firebase service or Firebase manager, here we'll check if the user exists or not. Okay, so I'll create a method here which will return a boolean is user exist. And how we'll know? We'll check based on the phone number. Right. So now I'll add this where condition. So where, so inside the users documentation, so document, we are searching through all collections that we have, and then based on that we are simply telling it that wherever the phone number field is phone number, that field I want, right? So here we can see like, okay, and I can say here dot get to return the data to us. So now user snapshot dot, and then we'll be getting docs dot is not empty. So if the docs are not empty, that means we have one entry for that particular phone number in the DB, and that means that user exists, and true it will return. So now what is the key value that we are storing? So we have a user model, right? So inside the models, we do have a user model, and this is the complete model. So what I'll do is I'll have the user phone number key. So here it will come as user dot, okay, so not this one, user dot phone number key. So great. This is how we will do things. Also, what I'll do is I'll create a class collections, and right now we'll be having one static const string chats. So this is for chats, right? So, and we'll be having for users. So there will be one space for chats and one for users. So we'll store all of the users and all of the chats in separate places, right? And here what I'll do is I'll say collections dot users. So this method we have to use when they are logging in. So inside the auth provider, you can see that whenever the OTP is verified, we are setting that locally that it is navigated. But first, what we have to do, we have to check using the Firebase manager or Firestore manager. So I'll create an instance here for the Firestore manager. Final manager equals to this thing, and manager dot, and I is user exist, and then we will pass the phone number. So do we have phone number here? Yeah, we do have the variable for phone number. I'll just pass that, and this will return an await, so I have to wait for it. So I'll add await, or better, what I'll do is that I'll create dot, then I'll get one variable exists, and if exists, then we will navigate simply to the root screen. Else we will create one user. So manager dot create user, and then we will navigate. So basically at the core, what will happen is that this line is column common, and if it does not exist, then only we will create the user. Now inside the Firebase manager, we have get user profile. So right now I'll delete that one. We have get user chats, we have get chat messages, and send chat message, right? Here what I'll do is I'll create future void register user, which will give a user model, user add user dot to JSON. And this to JSON returns a map of string of dynamic. So great. So basically what we are doing is that inside the users, we are adding one more user whenever register user is called. Right. So inside the auth provider, we will register the user and we will pass the user model. So what is our user model here? So the user model has few things. User that it requires. Firebase token, picture, UUID, title, first and last name, username, password, location, and all these things. Let's just see like whatever things we require, we'll just add only those things. So the user is on both Firebase auth as well. So I'll create it as our custom user. So US, and here what I'll do is US dot, or I'll change it to model. So model dot user, and then we have the phone number. What here we have to do is that phone number we have, and we have any other phone detail? So actually we don't have any other phone number detail. So what we will do, phone number also we will take from the method only. So copy the phone number and paste it here. Now on OTP submit, it requires a phone number and one OTP. So I'll pass the phone number and OTP we will get. And yeah, so on OTP submit, we'll be getting two variables, and on OTP submit, here I'll enter the phone number controller dot text comma OTP. So yeah, makes sense. Then here, if user exists or not, if not, you just register that user for me. So here we don't have the access for name, email, or gender. So we do have access for email. We can save the name as well. Gender we don't have. So what I'll do is I'll make it as nullable. Right. So gender is required. So gender is not required. Birth date not required. Location not required. Username not required. Password is not at all required, because what we are doing, we have only login with the phone number. We want the first name, we don't want the last name. And title, UUID we want, and Firebase token we want, and picture also, it's not at all mandatory. So final string picture, we require last name, we do require the username, birth date, and gender. So gender, and we be needing the birth date as well. So password is not required anymore, and location dot to JSON. So this location I'll create like this. So yeah, So we have made these variables as mandatory, and these ones should be like not mandatory. Okay, so in the model we have changed all these, but as you can see, we are starting to see some errors in the entire application. So let's just see one by one what are these. So in the auth provider, I am registering the user. Okay, so here we need to pass the details that we will pass. Great. So next what I'll do is I'll go to the calling page, and here I can see like some errors are there, and it is regarding picture. So the photo of the user, I made it as nullable. So now I am getting an error that it can't be nullable. So what we have to do basically here is that I'll make a separate widget inside the common widgets we have, and here I'll name it as custom circular image. Custom circular image, right? I'll search if there is any like inbuilt class that I made earlier. So I have a circular icon button, circular message, profile circular widget I already made, I think. Yeah. And here we can see that a profile circular widget, and it uses the network image only, and this one as well. And yeah, so border all circle black white if it is dark mode, and circle green color. So this is for the online status only. So if it is online or not, then only we will show. So yeah, makes sense here. So where I am using this circular widget, I am using inside header section, and inside the header section we are passing the image, and then we have a width, and then the name, and then online. Okay, so that makes sense inside the header section, and this header section is inside the message page. So the inside the message page in the header right now this widget was called. So what I'll do is we don't require like this widget, and let me just create one more widget for this thing, and it will basically be looking like this only, but the width height we can change. So here I'll import material, right? I'll create a stateless, and I'll name it as custom circular and image. Makes sense. Now I'll paste this code here, and what it will do is that it will ask for a final double radius, not radius. We don't want radius here. It's the width and the height. So let's just say size. We just pass the diameter or size here to us, and next thing that we want is the image. So final string image. Makes sense. I'll add these two as final, and here use this as image and use this as size. Make it size. But the problem, if we don't have an image, then what we have to do? So if the image is not there, then we don't have to show this decoration image. So image equals to null, then let it be null only. Otherwise only you go with the image decoration. So after this box decoration, I'll add a child, and here inside the child, what I'll do is that I'll add center, child, text, and then here I'll say, so instead of passing a user image, what I'll do is I'll import the user model only. So user, correct. It would be better because then we can get other details also that we require, not just image. And here I can just say user dot image, which will do this user dot picture actually. So yeah, this will work. And here I need to check if the user dot picture is not equals to null, and here user dot name. So first name I can get dot substring. So just substring, let me just say 0. So I want the first letter dot to uppercase. Right. So if my name is Yash, then only Y will come as capital in the name. And let me pass color as well. So color, and if it is null, so I'll create a boolean variable to make it more cleaner. So bool get is image provided, and I'll paste this. So now we know, like, if image is provided, so if image not equals to null. So here, if image is provided, then we have to show null, and if image is not provided, then we have to show colors, or for example, right now our primary color only. So primary color. Okay, so here we don't have, so background color we have here. Okay, green color is there. I'll use that one only then. Right. So otherwise here also I'll add is image provided. So is image provided. So is image not provided, then null, otherwise you directly show the image. And here also, if the image is not provided, or I can pass like this. Makes sense? Yep. Okay. So now we'll use this widget everywhere instead of the network image like we are using. Like in the calling page, we have this, we want image. So I'll make it like this, size 150, and user widget dot user. Correct. So now we don't require this container. So I'll remove that. Okay. Same thing like we have to do, I think. So here also 150, I'll paste it. Here also 150, I'll paste it. And here also 150. No, so here we have a network image of the complete width and the size. So this is for the calling page, like the user image is coming on the entire page. So here it is better to just make it here. So I'll make this one only, and but I cannot, so I have to make same logic that I did inside here. So yeah, for now what I'll do is we'll just check for the image, and we will not show any image if the image is not there. So I'll say like image equals to null, then null. Right. So yeah, so calling page error is done. Inside the home page we have some errors. So let's just quickly see, like participant images. So it requires a list of string, but the picture that I'm passing. So let me just make this participant images as a list of nullable strings, and here we have the image. So what I'll do is I'll make the custom. Okay, I have not copied it, so I'll scroll up here. I'll copy this again, and I'll go back to the custom list style. Here we have the container, and now the problem is I have the participant images and it requires a user, and I'm not passing as a user here, the user model. So in this case, because the user model, so instead of making it a final of string, what I'll do is that I'll make it participants. Right. And here I'll make it as participants list of user. This is user model that we'll import from our models.
So yeah, here now errors are starting to come that participant images not equals to null. Before coming to here, I'll go back to the home page. I'll go here and so chat is of type user, so that is good. Now this is a dummy that I'm using here, chats, right? Okay, but it's fine now. For now, inside the message page we have, I can scroll down a bit and I can see like e first name and e last name, but the last name is nullable, so I'll make it empty string if it is nullable, so only first name will come. Here inside header section we have the profile circular image, so this image can be nullable. So if it is nullable, I'll just show custom circular image of size 50 as mentioned, and I'll pass widget dot user dot picture, not picture, just user. Makes sense. I'll go and I'll delete this portion. Instead of importing image, I'll import user and get the user model. Makes sense. And I'll import the user as well. So now widget.user, yeah, so user cannot be nullable. Now I'll go to the header section and now here I'll pass user and user. Correct. Now we have a custom list style error here that I'll deal with later. First I'll fix other errors here. So yep, here we have password. Okay, I'll remove this password field because we don't want this anymore. And yeah, list style, profile page, main profile page, and here user dot picture, and it requires an image of string. Okay, so what is profile widget? Profile widget is this, and here image we are passing. Let me make it nullable string, and here we'll use custom circular image. So you can see that this widget that we have made is helpful in so many places in the entire application, right? And I'll pass my user. So instead of passing image and name, what I'll do is I'll add required user, and like that I'll pass the user. And now this container is no longer required here. So I'm going to delete that, and here the name user dot name is fine. Okay, makes sense. Now let's go here and same thing, custom, it's not copied, so custom circular image 140 and user. All right, add a comma, and here also we have same thing, so I'll just go and copy and I'm going to paste it here. All right, so this is also done inside the main profile page. Now it doesn't ask for image and name, it asks for user, and we'll define the user. All right, now we have two errors, custom list style, status bar is also there, so I'll first fix that. Here it's asking for me to enter a text and the last name is nullable now, so what I'll do is I'll wrap it with this, and yeah, string interpolation, let's make it okay. And in the image URL, it will be nullable only. So in the story widget, the image URL that we have will be nullable, and here you are showing the image URL as the size circle image and circle image show green strip. Okay, all right. So here what I'll do is, instead of passing the image, let me just go to the story widget one. So story bar, and we have the status list here, status list, and based on that, so instead of that, I'll pass user add a parameter user, this dot user final user, and no need for this image URL and text. So this text one, we know like what to do. We already have this thing. Need to go remove the parameter from constructor. I'm going to paste the text, and here it will say user dot first name and user dot last name. Okay, all right. Then image URL. So what I'll do is, so here it's like a child of this container. So probably I can't use it above, but I can definitely use it here. So custom circular image, size is of size, and user is of user. Any other things not required. Okay. Equals to null. Then also, okay. And here custom list style. Now participant images, it's asking for. So participant images, there is nothing like participant images. We have participants, participants here as well, here as well. And this is also a circle image with the background color. Participants 0. Okay. Dot picture. Yeah, probably this is right, but it will only come if the picture is like not null. So here equals to null, then nothing to show. Okay, otherwise only it will come. And after this decoration, let's just add the child. So this screen is for the custom list file. So yeah, I'll add it here also, and child, and I'll add center child text name dot 0 dot 2 uppercase. Great. Center text this and that, and here I'll pass the color as background color. So okay, makes sense. This error is removed. Now we have error in status bar saying that image URL isn't defined. So I'll just remove that, and inside the auth provider, now we need name. We don't need email. Okay, we need email. We need phone number. We need phone number. Gender is not required. Birth date is not required. Location is not required. Username not required. First name is required. Last name is not required. Title is required. Okay. UUID is required. 5S token is required, and the picture is also not required. So the other required fields that we want in the app to show. Great. UUID we can generate. Firebase token we can get easily. First name and name we need to show one pop-up first so that user can enter their name, and then we will register user. And email will we already have, so we don't have access for the email anywhere. So I'll remove the email from user model only, because email we are not storing it anywhere inside the app, or we are not even using that. Right, if I'm not wrong, we are not using email anywhere. So I'll just remove email. I'll go to the main.dart, and here inside also I'll remove the email, because the login is only happening based on the OTP verification from the phone number that we are getting, right? Here also I'll remove the email, and the email key is also not needed anymore. So auth provider, email is not required. So name and the first name. Now what is the difference between like name and first name? So name is like this, and first name is like the first name. So yeah, name is better. Okay. So what I'll do is name, first name. So before that is user logged in setting true, sign in credential. If the OTP is matched, then we will say like a pop-up for asking for the like name. What's your name? So we have to show a pop-up, bottom sheet, anything it can be, for name. Once we have that name, then only we'll set true and set the first name, title, UUID, and Firebase token. So let's just get these two, Firebase token, and also title no longer needed. So title we don't want to store, like what's the title here. So I'll remove the title from the app, because we don't want title key as well, right? And from the main.dart also I'll remove the title. Yeah, let it be added, because later on like we can add, right? So I'll just add a title, but I'll make it nullable. So the title that we have, I'll not make it required, and yeah, they can add it. So auth provider. Now UUID. So like inside the managers, local DB manager, we have. So let me add one extension. So inside the constant we had, so we don't have one extension navigator we have, but that is different. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll create one file for extensions, and I'll create the extension on build context only, right? Let me import build context from material, and the name of this extension will be like what we want to achieve is to generate UUID and Firebase token. So like util something. So string get UUID, right? So what it will do, it will return the UUID for us, and return the UUID. How we will return? So do I add, have I added any package yet for the UUID setup? So let me just open Arc and let's just search for the UUID package, right? So UUID pub dev. Yeah, and what this will help us to get some device like ID, random IDs that we can like pass it to the backend. So UUID and v4, one is time based and one is random. So it is not like the device ID, then we have to use device info package for that. This is just a random ID that we are going to assign to any user. So we can get like a time based one. So let's just go with time based. So UUID dot v1, I can say return, right? So UUID dot v1. Now we have to initialize the class and constructor we need to assign. So I'll just do that and I'll import the package UUID. I'll add a const. So yeah, this will return us a string function it is returning. So let's just make it string. So yep. Now what I can do is that we can call this get UUID from context. So I can say like context dot, now this context type is not assigned, that is why I'm not getting this OTP. Also we are having one string for that, and the phone number is also a string, right? And okay, phone number cannot be null and the OTP cannot be null as well. Now if I search here get UUID, I can get, so this will return us a UUID. Same we can do like with the Firebase token as well. So the Firebase token I already made, I think, for the generation part. No, it's not here. Okay, so I'll create that also inside the extension. So string get FCM token. So this will return us the FCM token for us, and it will be obviously asynchronous. So let me make it a future and let's just return, and I'm going to paste it here and return string. I'm hoping that the string is nullable, and let me just name it as token and like return the token back and import it. So make sense? And return the get token. So let's just go back to UUID and do like context dot get FCM token. Inside the auth provider, error is gone. This is done. Okay. And now we just need the names. All right. So here we need to show a bottom sheet. So I'll ask ChatGPT like to make a bottom sheet for us. So now this show bottom sheet will not return, it will return a string of nullable. So what we are going to do is tell a bit about yourself, first name, last name, and then submit, and then navigator.pop. So it will await string as a value, or better return directly, and let's make it asynchronous, and let's make it a future. So future string, and it can return a nullable string. And here what I'll do is I'll return back, so navigator.offContext.pop it did, and here I'll return back the first name and last name text fields. So what I'm going to do is here I'll create final t1 equals to text editing controller, right? And we are going to make T2, so this T1 and T2, and build text editing controller, and here we are going to pass the controller as controller, and we are going to import the text editing controller as well into this. Now it's going to say like error for us. So username, we don't want username, we just want first name and last name, right? And here I have said T1 and say T2. So we have two values, first name, last name. For to make it easy, I'll just concatenate them in a string, right? So let me just create a string T1 dot text T2 dot text. So I'll concatenate them and I'll return that string from this show bottom sheet. So now we'll be getting show bottom sheet. I think it requires context. Yeah. Now after passing the context, I'll add await, add asynchronous, and we'll be getting back a string of name. Now if name not equals to null, only then we will set the user as logged in, and we will check if it is registered or not, and we will register it. So basically set user as logged in. So this code will come inside before navigating, set user as logged in, and also the bottom sheet checking part we have to do, right? So is user logged in? If it does not exist, then here we have to do, and then if name not equals to null, then we are simply going to do this name dot split. For now I'm just going to make it like this, so it will split with the space and it will take the first one, else print phone is name is mandatory for authentication. Okay, right. So after this I'll set is logged in as true, I set it true, and let's just remove the condition, right? And no need for this name here. So if it does exist, what we have to do is that set as logged in true, and we will navigate to the root screen of it, right? So set user logged in as true. So we are setting is logged in value, but we need to check like user. So instead of checking is user logged in by the user get here, I'll get one of the ID. So we have user model, not Firebase auth, models dot, and I'll get like a UUID key. If this key not equals to null, that means that the user is logged in, and right. And instead of user set user logged in, I'll say set user, which will give us a user, and yeah, and I'll say put all user dot to JSON. So that will set the entire user model inside our local DB so that we can access that later as well. Now we can do set user, and whatever model that we registered here, I can just control X that and I'll create as user, and user equals to model dot user. Okay, so I'm getting one error saying, okay, because model user equals to this, and yeah, so I'm passing the user and I'm setting as well as user, so that will log in. And here we have to do set user. Now the question, if the user is already inside our database, how do we get that user details? So what we have to do is that we have to call our manager, our Firestore manager, and then we have to call get user. So right now, how many like functions we have inside? Right, so I made this is user and register user. Then we have get user chats, get chat messages, and send chat. So I need one get user. So I'll just copy this get user. Now get user based on what? Right, docs dot first dot to dart to JSON to data, yeah, this one. And from the map we can say user model dot from JSON, and I can return user model only. Now we will be getting the user based on the phone number only, because at this point of time we only have the phone number for that user. So is user exists, we can get based on phone number, and then manager dot get user, and then we can based on that get the user data. Say await user equals to user, and it will be model dot user. Right, so this way our whole like authentication flow is completed and it should work. So let's just run the app and try once to register and see in the Firebase as well if it works or not. Right, so I'm going to open the console Firebase, and we are in the Firestore database. Right, here we have rooms and we have users. So rooms is for the video chatting that we did in the earlier parts, and users is for that users that we are going to log in and register. So for now what I'll do is I'll delete the users. I'll delete it. So there are no users here. Okay,